Hello and welcome to the Punters Guide. I hope you're all well. I'm joined by Jason Weaver and Frankie Foster. Gents, good to see you. I tell you, Frankie, have you won a few quid recently? It looks very nice where you are.
Yeah, certainly not my living room, Mark. I'd be doing all right if it was. Well, I'm not sure. There's a hole in the roof. Yeah, I'm at House Cavani HQ, getting dressed up, ready for some racing at the weekend.
Oh, I tell you what, Jason, how the other half live.
Very nice, very nice. That's why he's always looking sharp as the proverbial shiny new pin, isn't it? And that's what we want at the top end of the market. So, yeah, as long as he's looking good and a few winners to boot.
Well, he's the best looking man on Betfred, isn't he? But he hasn't got a lot of competition, let's be honest, has he? Right then, before we start, enjoy York, Jason.
York was tremendous. Top class action, facilities, excellent people, unbelievable. If I had a pinch, and there've been one or two trainers just did mention that possibly the ground was a little bit loose on the opening day, and the problem is when you set off there, it tends to just carry its way through. But there wasn't any bias anyway. We had winners coming from all over the track, which is, I suppose, a good point. But the jockeys had no idea where they wanted to go. Stand side, middle, wherever, they were all over the place.
Frankie, it's a race course that does things right, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Great week, isn't it? You get a lovely feeling when you come through the gate. I think from even the parking attendants at York, they do a brilliant job of sort of setting the feeling right and making sure everyone's up for a good day. So yeah, I loved it. I think it's one of those great weeks that we get, and it always comes at a nice time because you get a tiny little lull before York, and then bang, you're into a good 5-day of Group 1 action.
Right then, gents, let's crack on with the live ITV action. And we actually start in East Yorkshire at 1:30 at Beverley. And gents, it's William Haggis' horse, Crown of Oaks, is going to take all the beating, isn't it?
He probably looks a little bit of a match, if I'm being honest. I thought Crown of Oaks was becoming very disappointing. Got beat at odds of 8-11, 1-3, had the cruelest cut of all, the gelding operation. Thank you very much. And focused he did. And probably one with a good bit in hand. I certainly don't think a £6 rise from 79 to 85 is going to slow him down. He got to the front up the inside of there, and he was doing nothing. The other horse came to challenge, and he finally went away. The only other one I could see in there who might give him a little bit of trouble is Financier at the top for Tim Easterby. He ran really, really well behind Old Toon Loon in one of those competitive races at Windsor recently for the Racing League. But it's boring, isn't it? And Frankie, I'm a Haggis groupie.
We know that. We know that on the Punter's Guide. If there's a Haggis horse, Jace will give him a shout.
Thoughts, Frankie?
Yeah, the favourite looks fairly solid, doesn't he? I mean, if I was trying to play an each-way bet, then I might put my faith in Tom Kylie Marshall, the young claimer taking off 5 with Titian, or Titian, however you want to say it. He's been around the block a bit. He's a reasonable handicapper, but his best form does come at 10 furlongs, I think. He raced predominantly over a mile, but when stepped up to 10 in the last sort of year and a half or so, he's put in some nice performances, managed to win at York, and hey, £5 off in a handicap that's competitive like this is no negative. So, he'd be my each-way play, but I think you're right, Mark. Fave's fairly hard to beat here.
Yes, that's the Silver Cup handicap at Beverley at 1:30. Crown of Oaks, trained by William Haggis. Right, real good mix live on ITV on Saturday. We then go down the road south to Sandown, and this handicap 150, Jason, looks wide open.
Yeah, I got a few of my cliff horses in here, notably Galaron,
I thought you might go there, Jess.
Yeah, he honestly, he's been an absolute shocker. What has happened? The engine has completely fallen out. I've had enough of him. A lot of people might latch on to Warrod all the way down the bottom from Ed Walker, 3-year-old, low mileage improver. I'm going to throw one in here called God of War, who's probably been running over the wrong distance, I think, over the mile. He had some previous really, really strong form over 7 furlongs in the early part of the campaign. And maybe that's why they was trying to stretch him out. But back down in trip, gets a fresh set of hands on today. New jockey, David Egan, I think will suit him down to the ground. I think he'll give you a good run for your money, God of War.
I like him, Jace.
Yeah, good. Yeah, trading around 11-1 at the moment as we record this. So double figure price at the moment for God of War. Frankie?
Yeah, I thought he was a nice play in as well at his price. As Jace mentioned, just back down to 7 furlongs. You look at his best efforts. I mean, or even as in his 2-year-old career, they came over 7, and then being stepped up hasn't quite worked out for him. Even his best performance this season was over 7.5 at Chester. So maybe they've been trying to make him want further. But you always say, don't you, Jace, that sort of intermediate 7 furlongs, you got to be tough and a bit of a grueler. And maybe he's not a miler, and he is just a bit of a tough 7 furlong horse. So that could be his trip. I'd definitely give him a shout. And then the obvious one at the top with Buick on board, second last time at Haydock, and could be the addition of Will Buick, could just put Cody Lyon into another gear. But I've got to say, I agree. I thought the value play was certainly God of War with David Eagle on board.
Nice.
So Cody Lyon, the favourite for Frankie, and he's quite keen on God of War, and that is Jason's selection, God of War, trained by Tom Clover, around about 11 to 1. Right, then we go to Beverley's big race of the year. I do like this sprint. We've got 10 runners at the moment as well. Regional is your favourite. The Beverley Bullet at 205, Jason.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried. Regional should win, shouldn't he? Rated 114, but the team decide to put the blinkers on. He's had the tongue tie on before, but it's a new combination, suggesting they feel he's been keeping a little bit back for himself. I mean, Red Orange has been expensive to follow. You've got a Drestier down the bottom who's a Royal Ascot winner. Clarendon House, will he go? I doubt it. Refused to race again the other night. Another Hamlet moment, wasn't it, for the jockey out of the starting stalls? He didn't want any part of it. I think that, for me, Kurdos will run well. He won this in 2023 underneath Ben Curtis, and he's been in really, really good company. I'm a big fan of the rider, Paul Mulrennan. He'll do for me. He can do the steering. Fast and late, see no daylight whatsoever, gets up late in the day. Kurdos.
Yeah, Kurdos, trained by Clive Clocks, currently about the third favourite. Frankie, come on, thoughts on Beverley's big race of the year?
It's a good race. It's always a great race, and I kind of have the same thoughts, Jace, about regional. He's rated probably £10 clear of the field, bar Star of Lady M, and he runs well in Group 1s time after time again. But he is making a habit of not winning, and this race, I'm not sure why, it has a habit of throwing up some surprise winners. I think the Bullet at Beverley. So for all that he looks the best horse in the race, I probably will try and take the favourite on. 2 to give a mention to. Adrastea. I spoke to Ashim when he came back in at Goodwood when she was just beating a short head or a nose there. And he was like, I don't know how I haven't caught the winner there. He said, I finished with such speed in the final sort of half furlong. I do not know how I haven't made that ground up. So potentially with that slight incline at Beverley, when they do tend to come back to you, or at least dent your speed in the closing stages, if she can do what she did at Goodwood, she might actually get there. So she'd probably be my main selection. For those that have listened to us week in, week out, I've given a fair few shouts for Shagran down the bottom at a big price. And I wouldn't want this race to run without mentioning him. So I think he's overpriced and could give you something to shout about. But Adrastea, she's got a good finishing kick, and that speed might be the difference.
Yeah, second favourite at the moment. Let's move on to Sandown and the 2:25, the Atalanta Stakes. The favourite at the moment is Blue Bolts, trained by Andrew Balding, Jason.
Yeah, and she's been on a bit of a roll, isn't she? Probably wasn't all out to win last time. Great, big, powerful daughter of Blue Point. I suppose over the mile, it's not too advantageous that she's way, way out on the track, if you like. Down the back there. She got a little bit of time to get in. Alabea, now she's going to take a big share of the market in here for the Haggis team. Have a look at when she won at Yarmouth. Super impressive. But the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, they've all been absolutely lapped afterwards. The form doesn't look great. Maybe the rain is tipping down at Newmarket at the moment. If that happens to fall, that might help her a little bit. But I like one right down the bottom. Hey Boo for Jack Shannon. Now, she ran in the 1000 trial at Newbury, ran really well. Went to Newmarket, beaten 5.5 in the Classic itself, didn't handle the track. That's what they said, not beaten too far. And unlike his father, who would have run and been out there again, he's taken the breaks, come back, drop her in, give her time to come back. And I think his patience will be rewarded. galloping track up the hill is going to suit her. And she's a big each-way player out there in double digits.
Yeah, 16-1 at the moment. Right then, Frankie, the Atalanta Stakes.
Yeah, it's a good little race. It's a little race. It's a full field as well. It's a great race. I think very competitive. I know that Ollie Sangster's probably been slightly disappointed with Flight after her brilliant second in the Betfred Oaks at the start of the year. He says she's a big filly and she needs a strong pace to go at because she does take a bit of time to get into top gear. But he's always kept the faith in her since that second at the start of the season. So she might be one to know. I thought Cathedral ran a big race at the Royal Meeting. Disappointing next time out in France, and has since moved from Rafe Beckett's to Kevin Philippart. So a bit of a question mark on how she might have settled in there. But I think she's one with potentially the most class in there. But saying that, it might be ironic if Rafe Beckett does train the winner in Skellett, who, bar her run at Epsom, put in a huge performance here at Sandown. So for me, Cathedral used to be at Rafe Beckett's versus Skellett, still at Rafe Beckett's with good course form. They're my two against the field, Mark.
Well, Cathedral around about 6-1, Skellett around 16-1. Is that noise someone busy preparing your suit?
Oh, I better turn that off. Let me
is
make
that what the noise is?
There's 20 men that way, getting the suits, the finest suits ready for Chester. I'll make sure I mute myself so our listeners don't have to hear that racket.
We've got the 240 in Chester live on ITV tomorrow, so I'll come to you first as a Chester expert. Come on, tell us about the 240 at Chester, Frankie.
Thankfully, they've stopped that racket. Yes, good race this. It's a listed race. It's the highest class on the card for Chester. They have plenty of sort of class 4 handicaps through the year after their brilliant May Festival. But this is a nice race. It's been won by some decent horses in the past. Table Talk's been brilliant this season without managing to win. Al Sakib, you talk about being a Chester expert. Well, he's won at the track before, and he ran well in the Ormond Stakes a couple of years ago that was won by Point Lonsdale. And that's the pointer for me. I like Chester form. Everybody knows that. PJ McDonald had a brilliant meeting at York. He's a man riding in good form. Balding's a top trainer at the track. So all the pointers are there, really, for Al Sakib to get another Chester 1 next to his name. Course form rules the Rudy, Mark.
It certainly does, and the draw as well. But Jason, your thoughts on the 240 at Chester?
Yeah, looks a bit of a matchup, doesn't it, between those two, Al Sakib and Table Talk. They're the ones that you need to focus on. One got the cheek pieces on for the first time, probably being a bit harsh on Table Talk. I don't think he's done a lot wrong. And Al Sakib, as Frankie was saying, the course form, he won his 3-year-old novice here a long time ago. So he just handles it really well. And the strike rate of PJ McDonald when he rides for Balding is absolutely ridiculous. You go down one or two of the others, I think they're struggling. We are singing from the same sheet, although we are not cut from the same or wearing the same cloth.
Right, so you both agree on the 240. Then we jump to the 3 o'clock at Sandown, and Roger Varian's got the favourite at the moment, Jason.
Yeah, well, Roger's team, Sadad, he landed the Gold Cup, the London Gold Cup at Newbury, and was galloping on strongly. Real good opportunity for Ray Dawson. He's coming back. He's just recently broken his wrist. He's been off for a while. No good time for that at all, but he's back and he's firing, he's fit. A couple of old favourites in here. Mustazid, who goes for Harry Eustace, but he has probably on a mark that is going to be just beyond him. Could see him running well. I have to say, Savvy Victory loves this venue. He's a listed winner up the hill here. He's dropped down to a pretty attractive mark. And who gets up the call-up? Colin Keane gets the call-up on him. That's a big positive. Nice draw, 4, just 3 off the inside, slots into a good position and flies up the hill. I look down through them and look, I know the favourite has got a huge amount or a huge ticket to improve. However, Savvy Victory, course form again, and looks to be, he's a massive price, whopping price, up in the 20s.
Yeah, 22-1 at the moment. Savvy Victory in the 3 o'clock at Sandown. Right then, Frankie, your thoughts?
Yeah, Jace, you mentioned Sadad and winning the London Gold Cup. We all say, don't we, because it is true that that's always a pointer towards a group performer in a handicap and one, on their way up. But I do wonder, was he slightly lucky to win that race? I hope I'm not eating my words come Saturday, but a couple in behind hit running in trouble, and I don't know if that will stand up as true as it sometimes does. So I'll take the Fav on. Danger Man looks to be on the up. Obviously, he's won 2. He's gone up about 20 pounds in the last sort of couple of months, but could be high enough in the weights now and might start to flatten out. For me, I'm going right to the top of the weights. 10 stone is a tough ask for Jeff Koons to carry in those Wathnan colours with Buick on board. But he's had some smart form. He was 8th in the Royal Hunt Cup. That's a race that's worked out really well. And he was carrying 9.9 that day. He was a length and a half behind Winlord here at Sandown, a smart horse. And he was beaten fair and square by Fox Legacy, but he's a proper horse in my opinion. And he was still second there. So he's been knocking on the door carrying a fair bit of weight. And it is a tough ask in any race like this to lug round 10 stone, but I do think he's classy and he might get his day in the sun.
Well, let's move on to another race from Chester, the 3:15. The 3:15, and it's a handicap here. Jason, the 3:15 at Chester.
Yeah, 7.5 furlongs. This will be the time for the jockeys to get their handbags at the ready when they come back in. You were all over me there. You got left, right, whatever. It's one of those. It's a right old scrum. Love these sort of races because jockeyship at an absolute premium. I suppose one or two people will like El Burnham, who goes down the bottom for George Bowie and Harry Davis. Looked pretty good when winning over 7 furlongs. I don't know why they upped him to 1.25 miles when he ran at Ascot last time, but he's drawn out in 11, so his task is made a little bit tougher, although they're right down the bottom or below the railway in the corner for that 7.5 furlong shoot, and they have a little run before they have to get into the left-hander. I'm very keen on one in here, and it's called Witch Hunter. He hasn't been down below a triple-digit rating since 2022. Not only that, Alec Wojkanski, who's a really decent pilot for the team, takes off another valuable 3. His form around here at Chester, who was he just behind within touching distance? Never So Brave. Ross Colin was just in front of him as well. That form is absolutely rock solid. Got a good draw. Hannon's slotted right under the radar. Witch Hunter.
Yeah, Witch Hunter. Again, you're tipping up another one at a double figure price, Jason. That's what we like. Working man's prices. Right, Frankie, give us one.
He gives us the goods, doesn't he? And just to add to those, if you are having a look at Witch Hunter on your race card, I remember watching him run in the Victoria Cup at Ascot. He was 7th, 4.5 lengths behind Hickory, which was a track record that day, even beating the Chesham winner from a couple of years ago, I think, over 7 at Ascot. So a quick pace set. And that day he was off a mark of 107. And Jace has rightly pointed out that he's now into double digits. So I see your case, Jace. I hadn't made it that far down the page myself. You know me, I like a favourite at the top of the market. I'm going with Hawksbill second. At that same track I was talking about at Ascot, he ran on that weekend when Hugo Palmer had a group double of 2 fillies back to back, and Hawksbill ran on the same card. That was his first start back after being gelded. Since then has ran a great second at Haydock. I always like to give horses one run since the op and then get them back to business. And he looked back to his old self last time out. So Hawksbill, not a horse with course form, but as we know, Hugo Palmer, brilliant trainer round Chester, trains down the road, and they even have deliberately a sharp turn on their gallops to train horses to go round Chester. So I think he'll take to the track. And Jason Hart on board. If you want a tough jockey, he's your man, isn't he?
Yeah, it's very impressive. Right then, the 3:35 at Sandown is the Solario Stakes. At the moment, as we record this, published for the Gosden team is 5-6. But here's just a little tip. Us bookies love the shorties on a Saturday morning. I don't think he'll be 5-6 on Saturday mornings. If you fancy it right now, I'd wait till Saturday morning. One bookie, probably Betfred, will take it on. Thoughts on the scenario, Jason?
Yeah, look, and sometimes we delve in and we think about the form, don't we? He was unlucky on his debut here. Then he wins. The front 2 pulled a good way clear. The second came out and won by 7.5 lengths at Yarmouth in a tin pot race, but he was 1-14 on that occasion and just went off like an absolute rocket. Pacific Avenue, he's a brother to Highland Avenue. Could be anything. Front 2 again, pulled a little way clear. And then you've got the one who's probably a little bit of a sleeper in here. He's Wallim, who goes for James Tate. Now, he doesn't often throw them in willy-nilly. And when I say that bolted up at Beverley, and we are up there today, aren't we? But Beverley form, he looked very, very good. Prescott had the 6-4 favourite in there and got absolutely lapped. So, look, I think Publish is going to take a world of beating. If there was one in here to take him on, I think He's Wallim is the wrong price.
Frankie?
For me, lads, yeah, I think it's a shorty worth backing. If the boss is kind to Punters, Mark, and decides to push him out a touch, I'll be all over Publish. But we'll see what happens Saturday morning. If there was one to take him on with, Humility, a Royal Ascot winner, probably shouldn't be as big as he is. I know he's disappointing last time out, but that can happen. He's a Cheshire winner for a reason, so he's got a bit of class. But yeah, I think Publish is the one to beat.
Right, gents, that's just to wrap things up. I was just thinking next time we speak, it'll be September. And in September, we've got the Betfred St. Ledger. We've got the Ryder Cup as well. Oh, yes, obviously, the Triple Crown is still on. I'll just tell people. But we have a darts tournament. And when we stay over, I was lucky enough to win at the Guineas with my partner, Lucy. And I was lucky enough to win at the Derby. So the Triple Crown is on, Jason.
There has been a faller at these events before. There has been a faller, but
Yes,
hopefully we'll be okay.
And I wasn't at York last week because I was working at the Belfry. And unfortunately, in the Belfry darts tournament, Jason, I went out the first round.
Oh no! Oh no! So they had people who could play.
Possibly manage their drink better.
Fair point. Fair point.
But anyway, the big one is the Triple Crown at the Betfred St. Ledger. But come on then, gents, tell us your naps this weekend.
I'm going to go with Witch Hunter. I bigged him up. I quite like the angle in that he's dropped a long way in the ratings. And, a typical Hannon runner, they're so tough, aren't they? They turn up week in, week out. And he's worked him. So with the claim, he's actually running off 96. He hasn't been that low for absolutely ever. And, he can turn up and do us a favour at a big whopping each way price.
Frankie?
Why not have a go in the Bullet? Adrasteer, you've got to be quick to win the Beverley Bullet, as it's named. It's fast 5 furlong. She's got some speed. Adrasteer for me.
Right, gents, thanks very much. Really enjoyed your company. Good luck this weekend if you're having a bet on the horses. Be lucky, and thanks for watching.